Hi, everybody.
I'm John.
And I'm Ann.
And this is
John and Ann's Wrestling Podcast. Okay.
I was running.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
It's the very first John and Ann's Wrestling Podcast of 2024.
That's right.
This is our podcast where we talk about professional wrestling.
That's it. And nothing more, nothing less.
There's nothing
Actually,
else to it.
We do talk about other things sometimes.
Yeah, but most of the time it's wrestling or just things that we want to talk about as people.
Yeah. God, remember that one episode where we just talked about football the whole time? I'm just kidding.
No, because neither of us watch football.
It would be fun to do like an April Fool's podcast where we just try to talk about sports.
Real sports.
Real sports. And we
sports.
Try to research it and do our best to talk about it. But it's not like,
Yeah.
But we don't watch, or maybe we watch a little bit.
Yeah.
It's up to us. I think we should do that. I'm pitching that. And we're held accountable because our loyal viewers and unloyal viewers, if you're disloyal, I don't discount you as a viewer,
I can't think of anything I want to do less.
Okay, well, maybe I'll do it and you do the wrestling part.
Okay. Sounds great, honestly. So anyway, the last year, 2023, was the World's End.
Yes.
And John and I were present for it.
Yes, it's a new world.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. The world ended, which it really did feel like the world ended at that show.
It did. I mean, it felt, first of all, it was, kind of isolated. I don't know if people who live in Long Island would consider themselves isolated, but...
Oh, yeah, we drove to the World's End.
Traveling from Queens, from Astoria, Queens, to the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York. It did feel like we were going way out.
It was a ways away. And we had to drive a Tesla. It was not something we requested or sought out. It was something that was happened upon us by a very gender essentialist dollar budget or dollar rental car lady who worked at the dollar rental car.
Yeah.
She had a lot of thoughts on women's wrestling I didn't appreciate.
But she liked Becky Lynch.
Because
she was pretty.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into what she said because she might be identifiable by it.
Yeah. But you know what? Look, we all love Becky, so we can all agree on that.
Yeah, everybody loves Becky and World's End. The other thing about World's End that sticks out in my memory is the smell. Before we get into the matches, I want to talk to every wrestling fan in the world. Look at me. Look at me. Look me in the eye. Look me right in the eye. I am tired of smelling your BO. I know that your mother has given up and that you simply think that you can stay up all night gaming, playing StarCraft or Roblox or Fortnite or whatever it is the kids are playing now all night. And that then you can go to the wrestling show right after you roll out of bed from that all-nighter. No, you cannot. You have to wash yourself with soap. And you have to put on clean clothes. You just have to do this. This is just part of being in the society. It's the two things you have to do. Okay? That's all.
You could have told me that off camera. I don't think
I have many times.
We can discuss this later.
Well, I just want to make sure every wrestling fan understands that.
You know what's sad?
I'm not amused by this anymore.
You know what's sad? I didn't notice the smell as much because I'm probably used to it going to so many wrestling shows and just kind of living in it,
It's like
I was eating a chicken sandwich and
yeah, no, you and our two friends.
Away.
You and our two friends who we went with were just housing some like fried stadium food in the midst of this odor, and it was impressive to me. But I was miserable, and it was like a very strong, like, I don't expect it to smell like lavender body wash, right? Like, I don't expect people to have like goals in their hygiene that they're like striving for, but like a neutral like musk is fine. This, however, was like a level of BO and like musty moldness to it that like I have not smelled since Comic-Con.
Wow. really
And Comic-Con is where you go to like
smell some smells.
to realize how other people are living.
Yeah. Well, Comic-Con, I will say, there's a lot of walking at Comic-Con. So
there is. Also, people are sweating, and so it's like...
and you're wearing weird clothes. A lot of people do cosplay.
Yeah, and if people don't wear their deodorant or have stayed up all night playing Roblox or Fortnite...
A lot of people are,
It exacerbates the issue. So this was a level of BO that I'm not accustomed to at a wrestling show, because usually like a wrestling show BO is a little bit more mild, but this was pretty intense.
Pretty intense. Also, I don't think the venue necessarily helped. I mean, it was
the venue might have also contributed to the smell.
Cool to be in like such a storied venue. They did a portion of WrestleMania 2 there, SummerSlam 2002, which is like one of the greatest WWE pay-per-views of all time, was at the Nassau Coliseum, and many a show, but it is old and kind of shitty. So, although great view, because there's no like 300 levels, so we were just in the 200 levels, like kind of almost as far back, not quite as far back as you can go, but pretty far back. And I gotta say, I could see everything very clearly. I could smell everything very clearly. I could taste everything very clearly.
Yeah. And the Nassau Coliseum, I will say, it's sad when a chapter comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
As the Nassau Coliseum is apparently slated for a different life in the future. But I can see why. I
Yeah.
I could really see why. Like being there, I was like, yeah, this is not working for anybody. Like I waited in line, and part of this is, again, this was again like the Prudential Center has the staff that I believe is like permanently high because they forget like how many Pepsis they're pouring and stuff. This staff was like, they didn't seem high. They just seemed to live in a different dimension where they aren't busy. Like they didn't seem to have any awareness that there were like hordes and lines of people at every minute of this event.
Yeah.
Waiting. Like it took me, what did I get? A packet of Reese's Pieces and a Gatorade, and it took me, I missed the entire Tony Storm match, pretty much.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like I missed the first half of it. I missed the match before that in its entirety. So like it must have taken me like 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
because I missed the beginning of the Tony Storm match, and I missed the entire, I think it was Miro was fighting before her.
Oh yeah, it was Miro versus Andrade.
Yeah, I missed that match entirely.
You missed Andrade's probably last match. Well, no, we know it was his last match in AEW.
And this was me finding the secret lower level food court and not even waiting in the really long lines that were in the concourse. I went to the lower level food court that was like on the floor by the VIP section because I was like, these lines are shorter. This will be faster. It still took me that long.
Wow, you found a secret other dimension with who's it, Mr. Thomas? Is it the guy from the little wood nymph guy?
Tunmus.
Tunmus, Mr. Tunmus.
Isn't it like it's like Thomas, but kind of weird and stupid.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where fantasy writers are like, ugh, I just need a name, but I'm gonna make it like Edard.
Yeah.
It's just like make it just slightly stupider.
Yeah.
So it's like
just add another consonant in there somewhere so that it like sounds funny.
Yeah. Bryndon. Just really picking on George R. R. Martin here.
I mean, George R. R. Martin was the king of that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's get on to the wrestling of World's End, shall we?
Yeah, what a great show. Wasn't overly long, which I like. You like to see AEW.
Yeah, we were out of there by midnight.
AEW's been doing more pay-per-views. I think that's been helping with their because they were doing like 5-hour pay-per-views basically, but they were only doing like 4 a year. Mm-hmm. And now they're doing. I mean, the second half of last year, they basically did like one a month. And I think it's been, it was like, we were home by like 1 a.m. midnight.
Yeah. We left at midnight, and it was great. So that was fun. What was your favorite? What was your highlight from that?
Oh man, other than the smell, I liked a lot of it. I thought it built really well. The last couple matches, the timeless Tony Storm versus Riho was great, and it really got me a few times because obviously it seemed like Tony Storm was Riho's a good challenger because she's very over. But doesn't really need to win, so she was a good first challenger for. This is almost essentially Tony Storm's first title reign in AEW because her first two were she was good. Obviously, she's a great wrestler, great performer, but she didn't have her character that she's found yet. So this is she's clearly loving it. She's more over than she's ever been. probably anywhere, certainly in AEW. So this feels like almost her first reign at this point, but that was great. I hate to see Andrade go, but go wherever you're happy, brother. And then probably I would say the last like 3 matches were really I was like, uh, these are the best matches on the show. This is great. It was Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, and then the main event of Samoa Joe and Adam Cole. I also will say about
Samoa Joe and Adam Cole.
Adam Cole. Well, he wasn't, but so Samoa Joe and MJF. I'm sorry.
He doesn't know.
I started thinking about something else. I smashed it up. I smished it up a little bit
Well,
in my head.
good thing you're not hosting a podcast or anything.
Okay, you know what? Let's just start over. How about that? I'm going to start over. No, but I will say, this is the thing that I wanted to say. Similar to the odor issue, section captain alert. Section captain alert.
Oh my God.
For the most part, I would say most of the people were fine. But there was a section, felt like a relatively small section, that kept trying to start like very edgelord, stupid chants. And not in like a fun way. There was a Chris Benoit chant, which none of us should be chanting Chris Benoit.
This is the second time I've seen people try to start a Chris Benoit chant.
I was a big Chris Benoit fan, before he murdered his family. I think we can leave Chris Benoit in the past. I don't think we need.
Well, they're doing it just because they want to upset people, not because they actually care about Chris Benoit.
They're going into business for themselves. They're trying to get themselves over,
exactly.
as we say in we say in the business. We who are of the business.
Yeah.
And it was awful. And then they tried to start a CM Punk chant, which everybody booed hard.
Yeah.
And it's not even.
I think everybody's pretty sick of that mess.
Yeah, and I mean, I was a huge CM Punk mark, and I was over those CM Punk chants by he left in 2014, but 2015 or so, I was like, we're good. And especially now that he is currently wrestling, when he's in a company, I was mad at this when I went to a WWE show and people were chanting CM Punk. I'm like, he's on another show. You can go see him.
Yeah.
You don't have to chant for him here. He's not here. Go to the WWE show. He'll be there. He was literally just 4 days before that.
Yeah.
He was at MSG. So we don't need to chant for CM Punk at the wrong show. But anyway, that was great. I mean, see, Adam Cole's on the brain because that dirty, dirty son of a bitch. And here's something I want to say about, because there's just so many wrestling matches to talk about, so I won't even go into the quality of most of the matches, but they're really great. Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley, fantastic stuff.
I actually thought the best one was Willow and Chris Statlander. Anyway, continue.
That was a very good match. They were opening the show. They had that issue with the powerbomb at the end. But they recovered from it
like true pros.
They did recover from it very well.
That's a mark of a true professional.
They did a great job getting everybody on their side in a very half full arena because they were the first pre-show match.
Yeah.
I would like to see them get a spot on. There were 3 women's matches technically total out of 27, but it was still quite an improvement. I will say that with the whole Adam Cole Devil reveal, I love it, and I think sometimes you don't need to swerve the audience. You can just do whatever is most logical. I felt like Adam Cole had to be the devil, and he was, and it paid off. And also, I loved that Roderick Strong and the Kingdom were just lying. And Wardlow were just lying the whole time. I love that they're just lying. And it's it's very obvious. It must be you. And it's yeah, you know what? It was us.
Yeah.
We're lying pieces of shit.
No, and it was a great reveal.
Mm-hmm. And it was very theatrical, the way he was sitting there when the lights came back up.
Yeah. They used a lot of little tricks. Mm-hmm. So, what would we grade this on an A to D,
A to D?
Well,
Did you have
school
Fs
grades.
in high school?
Yeah, but we wouldn't give it an F, so I'm not
I was going to say, when I was I think it was in college, we didn't have F. We had E. A, B, C, D.
For exceptional?
Yeah. It was you went so far the other way. This is exceptionally bad. No, I would give it probably an A minus, something.
I was gonna say, I think I'm A minus as well. It's it was a good show. It was, ending at midnight. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Yeah. The only thing that would make it better is if you ended at 11 p.m. I would have been like, oh my god, this is the best wrestling show I've ever seen.
Oh, remember when we went to Sukeban and it was a 90-minute show?
Yeah. Oh
that
god.
Was great. After we just went to something long. I think we had just gone to Grand Slam.
Yeah. No, beautiful.
And you got to see Eddie Kingston win a championship
I got
live.
to see Eddie Kingston finally win a championship from my seat and not hear it from the concourse that I'm circling Arthur Ashe trying to find how you get anywhere.
I don't respect you at all.
He shouldn't.
Because you missed my match.
All right. Well, World's End.
And I would say also very happy that Samoa Joe is the AEW World Champion. I love MJF. Really wanted Samoa Joe. I have seen Samoa Joe, who is a legend, and I've been a big fan of his for a very long time. Really wanted him to be a world champion in WWE. That was like the fourth Samoa Joe World Championship match I've seen live, and obviously he lost all of them in WWE. And I was like it was literally every SummerSlam at Barclays Center, he would have a world title match, and he would lose. And he finally won. So good on you, Joe.
Hooray for Joe. I like how you were like, I'm just going to talk about the experience and not comment on the wrestling. And we talked about almost all the matches.
No. We can talk about Julia Hart. But, no, we'll talk about it.
All right. Do we want to talk about Wrestle? Well, you can talk about Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't watch Wrestle Kingdom.
I know. I feel almost bad talking about it, but it's because I loved it, and it's such a big deal, and it becomes a bigger deal almost every year because more and more international fans are getting into Wrestle Kingdom. It's a fantastic show. You should go out of your way to watch it. Also, they kept it relatively short. Most of the matches were around 10 minutes or less. A couple of them were a 15-minute, and the last three are maybe around 20. The last two are a little long. But there was no Wrestle Kingdom sometimes the main event will be 45 minutes, which is great if it works, but there wasn't and they also cut down on the undercard tag team matches because New Japan does a lot of they'll be fast, but they'll have 3 to 4 big multi-man tag matches to open the show, and they'll be done within the first hour or whatever, but it's nice to not have them. They put all the guys that weren't in big matches on the card in the pre-show battle royal, which is a Royal Rumble style thing, and that was great. So we got the people that didn't make the card. They all got featured there. My guy Yo came running out to the ring in a tracksuit, seemingly not knowing he was in the match, and then he was wrestling in socks for a while, and that was fun. But yeah, New Wrestle Kingdom was a fantastic show. The last couple matches especially really delivered very well.
Were there any stars I would know on it?
Bryan Danielson.
Oh.
And he was a rematch against Kazuchika Okada from Forbidden Door.
Does he have his other eye back yet?
No, he's still got the patch, but the patch works for him. He did get it ripped off during the match, but Jon Moxley was in it. He wrestled Will Ospreay and David Finlay for the newly created IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. So they have the World Heavyweight title and the Global Heavyweight title.
Who won?
Who won that?
Mm-hmm.
David Finlay is the inaugural IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. So this is their secondary championship. But it's
he's Fit Finlay's son, you know.
He is. Did I say that to you?
Yeah, you did.
Great. And you know what Fit Finlay's real name is?
No.
David Finlay.
Oh, that's cute.
I think his father might also be. But anyway,
that's cute.
It is. But yeah, he's the first champion, and I think it's supposed to the difference is supposed to be that the global champion is supposed to travel around to other promotions, to defend the title, whereas the world champion is supposed to stay primarily in
their cinematic world.
But I don't know. Probably should have named it the International Heavyweight Championship or something to just differentiate it a little more. But it's a nice looking belt. I like it. Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley obviously are great. Could have been great champions, but I like David Finlay a lot more than a lot of people give him a lot of guff, but I think he's been doing well.
Also, when is Moxley going to take that fucking vacation?
I don't think he's ever going to take it. Maybe he was I got to take a vacation, but he went to Japan and they were like, hey, we need you to wrestle. And he's like, God damn it.
I mean,
I'm on vacation in Japan.
I feel like he was talking about this vacation 2 years ago.
CM Punk really ruined that for him because that was right after All Out.
They were supposed to take some time off,
and then he just never did,
and then they never did.
And now they have a baby.
Yeah, Renee and Mox are just working every week.
She's not even a baby. She's not even a baby anymore. Their daughter's almost in preschool now at this point.
Their daughter runs around. Yeah.
She can talk, and he still has not taken this vacation.
Yeah.
From before. Maybe she had been born at that point. I don't remember.
Maybe they're waiting to take her on a trip that she can appreciate, you know?
Yeah, they're waiting to take her until she can appreciate Epcot Center.
Yeah.
You know, when you're old enough.
Yeah.
Because Epcot takes a keen mind.
It does.
Because when I went to Epcot as a child, I didn't care. And then when I went as an adult, I was like, this might be my favorite one.
I loved it as a child.
Well, you were a nerd. Okay, and I was a jock. Obviously. I was like, where's the footballs?
Yeah, you were like, yeah, where are the footballs?
Mom, where are the footballs?
Show them to me.
I have to see them or I freak out.
Okay.
But it was a great, fantastic show. And then they had New Year Dash the next day, which is like their Raw after WrestleMania type thing. So, because Wrestle Kingdom kind of ends a bunch of stuff, and New Year Dash is a surprise card where nobody knows like what's coming until like the wrestlers make their entrances. And it like sets up some new rivalries. So I'm very excited. I think this is the year that a lot of younger New Japan talent that were previously students that have come back and they were growing over the last year, they're going to be taking over, like Shota Umino, Ren Narita, Yota Tsuji, Yoya Uemura, Joya. Remember Joe Hendry? That was his tag team partner.
Yeah.
So they're going to be taking over a lot more this year because of the older stars. Hiroshi Tanahashi is now the president of New Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to probably be winding down at some point. Naito is great. I'm glad he's the world champion for a little while, but he definitely is like, he's not even that old. He just has had so many injuries. So he's probably going to be wrapping up, and then I don't know how long he's going to wrestle for, but he might wrestle for another 10 years. But and even Okada might leave. I don't know. So we'll see. So I think these guys are really going to be, it's going to be a new generation. I'm very excited for it. And also, they lied to us during New Year Dash because they kept saying Bryan Danielson had already left to go back for Collision. And then he came out in the main event and was in the main event. Those liars.
Those
big week for liars. Oh, and we had a fun moment there where they were Bullet Club was throwing chairs in the ring, and Chris Charlton, one of the English commentators, like, those chairs are for the fans.
I did
They're
see that.
for the fans.
That was fun.
That was great.
All right, do you want to share your Roman Reigns thought? I feel like you can just say it.
It's a simple thought. I've been watching it, especially when, like, well, actually it has nothing to do with The Rock, but just, like, I watched most of Raw and SmackDown this week because they had, like, pay-per-view
Oh, yeah, because The Rock is back again.
They had, like, these pay-per-view level shows. They're kind of doing the AEW thing, which is where they, like, use a name of, like, a pay-per-view or, like, name an episode of Raw or SmackDown. But they've been doing it in NXT for a while, too. And they just have, like, a special episode of Raw and SmackDown with like bigger matches or whatever. And so I checked those out because also they were like the first ones of the year. And they were fine. And then, but Roman Reigns, who was on it this week, this was more like last year. I'm like, so he hasn't defended his title since SummerSlam, right? Or did he have one title defense since then?
I'll pull up his
Basically,
cage match file.
This isn't an indictment of Roman Reigns as a performer. I think he's very good. I think he's had this whole heel turn for him has been great. But I think his lack of being on the show, and I don't begrudge anyone for getting
his
shorter...
last match was when he defeated LA Knight on November 4th.
Right, that's true, in November. So from SummerSlam to November, that was his second title defense. He did have like...
Well, he defeated Sami Zayn in October. And then it says Tribal Combat that's SummerSlam. So WWE Super Show. Oh, this was a house show.
Yeah, so maybe he did that. But
okay, so he had a house show in October. Gotcha.
He's almost like, it's cool. I don't begrudge somebody for getting a lighter schedule with WWE because it's very hard. But I feel like he's there so little that he's almost proving he's unnecessary because they're doing like big business. They're growing. I know he's like there and part of it, but it's like if he's not on the show ever.
Well, it isn't the whole thing that he's like invincible, so it almost makes it hard to have him on because you know he's never going to lose.
Yeah, but it's like what I'm saying is they're doing Raws and SmackDowns every week.
Yeah.
And he's like never a part of it.
Yeah.
And they have full stories without him. So at this point, it's basically like he doesn't even need to be there, and they would be doing the same. I'm not saying that he hasn't contributed to this or isn't important or isn't great when he's there. It's just that he's there so little. It's almost like Brock Lesnar. I mean, I guess maybe he pops a peacock rate. I don't even know what.
You know what it makes me think of? Vince McMahon. He's gone, but he's still there. He's gone, but he's the force everybody's organizing around. Anyway, it's kind of a metaphor if you think about it.
Well,
an allegory. It's like the boss isn't here, but we need to get rid of him.
Boss isn't here, man.
The boss is here, but he's not. But he's not, but he is.
Dave Meltzer's not here, man. I don't know why I'm quoting Cheech and Chong. It's really just Chong. That was a Chong line.
Oh.
Dave's not here, man.
But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I just, I like Roman Reigns a lot. I've loved the bloodline.
He's an
thing.
empty suit at this point, though.
It just feels like if we're talking about how we're doing record business and all this stuff, and then he's not on the show like ever. Like I understand that he's there and like stuff happens with him, and he's done a match or two, but it's like if he's never ever there, what? It's almost like proving he doesn't need to be there.
Yeah,
and they would be fine. But I mean, WWE is that. I mean, they're bigger than at this point. They're just a brand.
Yeah, then they can afford an empty suit. All they need is a guy who sells action figures. They don't need him to do anything.
That's true. But yeah, that was my thought.
Great. Well, I didn't watch Wrestle Kingdom this week, and I haven't watched any WWE this week. Not because I'm taking a stand or anything, but simply because I was caught up in another promotion that I follow.
Oh, which one?
It's
GCW or House of Glory?
It's not. No, it's not GCW. It's not House of Glory. It's not even Impact. It's the Real Housewives promotion, which is one of the better known but lesser appreciated wrestling promotions in this world.
RHW.
RHW. The Real Housewives Wrestling Association, the RHWA. Because this week saw a major development in the Real Housewives universe. If you know a person who watches reality television, you probably have heard rumblings of this. Monica Garcia, who was the newest member of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the newest cast member who was added this year, she came to the show through her relationship with Jen Shaw, who is currently serving 6 years in federal prison for fraud. She was not arrested on the show, but pretty close to it. The police pursued her on the show.
It was like a
her trial
marketing scam, right?
Yeah, her trial was a big part of the storyline of last season. It was a telemarketing scam. She was scamming elderly people out of money by signing them up for things and then charging all their money.
She's getting my mom.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think it was something where she was like offering to build websites for elderly people. It was like some marketing service or something where they'd build you a website, but then it just never happened.
I hope it's elderly people with businesses, not just like Nana's website.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Click here for a cookie.
There's many layers to what they were doing, but she's serving time now, and her assistant Monica was brought onto the show as a new cast member. And spent the season kind of dealing with her own toxic narcissist mom and her own insecurity about not having as much money as the other women on the show because she is going through a divorce, which her divorce was triggered by her sleeping with her brother-in-law, which is her husband's sister's husband.
So she ruined two marriages.
So she ruined two marriages in their family.
Both siblings' marriages.
Yeah, both siblings' marriages in this man's family.
So they both had to move back in with their parents.
Yeah,
at the same time.
That's a good.
This is a sitcom, right?
It's a screenplay, really. It's a screenplay at Sundance.
That's actually great. Oof.
John can't wait to write a big drama about a divorce.
Dramedy.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
For sure.
Anyway, so Monica in this final episode of the season is found out by Heather Gay, who is one of my favorite housewives. Heather discovers that Monica has, for the past 4 years of this show, been running an Instagram account called Reality Von Tease, which has been an Instagram account that trades in housewife gossip, spreads it, basically just like a Gossip Girl type thing where she's outing everybody's dirty laundry, and a lot of it was directed towards Jen, but it had been directed toward each of them at various points. And apparently this girl's been running this Instagram account for years and wanted to get on the show to be in the... I mean, I can't speak to her motives, I guess. Her stated motives are that she just wanted to take down Jen Shaw. Why she then sought out being on the show is a little bit what? But it was a very cinematic finale when this was revealed. Heather got a real great Sherlock Holmes edit, like a real Knives Out edit.
Yeah, like a Kaiser Sose.
Yeah, it was really fantastic. It's
Yeah, I did watch
dramatic on the
Knives Out.
beach at night, presents her case. Like,
Even when
there's
she
flashbacks. There's
told the other housewives about it. They met on a beach,
yeah.
mafia style.
And you didn't even get to see, because I didn't rewind it far enough. You didn't even get to see the beginning of that scene where Heather's just standing alone on the beach, and the wind is, whipping her dress in the air, and she's waiting, and the housewives arrive one by one, and she's like, "Let's wait, let's wait for Meredith." Like, it was fantastic. It was probably one of the best reality show finales I've seen in a long time.
And then they do have a match, kind of, because they have the
because they have she reveals it that to Monica that she knows this, and then they have a big fight, and
actually they have another match coming up because they have the reunion.
They have the reunion. It's all to build towards the reunion. You've got to build towards the reunion with the finale. So yeah, because the reunion is like the WrestleMania of this franchise.
It's a celebration.
Yeah, so you everything's building towards the reunion.
It's where a big guest star can show up.
Exactly.
Just for pop.
It's where I've seen people pull out like poster board printouts of text messages.
Wow.
I've seen people bring out binders. Like, yeah, it's.
Would you liken this to the Adam Cole Devil reveal?
You know what? There is a lot of similarity between this Real Housewives finale and World's End because of the Devil reveal. It turns out because Monica was revealed as someone that they all liked and that they were all like in different stages of getting along with, and they were in Bermuda. The reason they were in Bermuda was because that's where Monica's grandmother was from, and Heather wanted to plan this trip on her birthday week to like go to Bermuda and like reconnect with her roots and like celebrate her. And then it's on this trip that Heather gets this information from her hairdresser.
Who was like the other person involved, right?
Yeah. Who also who broke down and like ratted her out and like sent all these screenshots.
Oh yeah, great
receipts. Timeline. Anyway.
Documents.
So that was a lot of the wrestling I was watching this week, was that this season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because I'd watched the first episode and kind of like let it go by the wayside. Because sometimes I get bored, because the first episode of this season, I feel like undersold it. Like they didn't build to the first. They didn't build to this in a way where I was like, oh, I have to watch this whole season.
Yeah. It's a typical Raw. It's just like whatever.
So I didn't watch it until people started talking about it, and I was like, oh, I should go back and like watch this. And it was worth it. It took me all week, but it was worth it.
That's how we used to watch every movie in like 6th grade. It was my friends would just tell me every single thing that happened in the movie. And then I was like, oh, I got to see this now. And now I'm like the opposite. Now I was like,
I did. It's almost like I watch Real Housewives the opposite way you watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Where like I find out there is a spoiler. I don't want to learn what the spoiler is.
Yeah.
But I go back and watch because I know that something happens. But like, I feel like with wrestling, it's the opposite, where like you don't want to know if anything happens. You're fine if it's just a regular wrestling show where nobody does anything.
If I want to see a movie and somebody tells me it's good or bad, I'm furious.
Yeah.
I immediately am like,
whereas I kind of,
clean slate.
With Housewives especially, I kind of need that motivation to be like, oh no, there's a big twist in this season.
It does feel like
ish,
where you need like.
Yeah, because it's always going to be there. It's like one of those things where you take it for granted because you know it's always going to be there. There's a million hours of it. You can have it at any time. And it's only imperative when it's like something everybody's talking about. Yeah. Like otherwise I can save it for like a day I'm going to like organize the closet or something, you know, because it's a great second screen. It's a great like have on in the background while you do stuff show, Housewives is, because they repeat everything 9 times and there's really only 10 minutes that matter in an hour-long episode. Yeah. So so it's a good thing to save for when you have like a clean out the basement kind of day. And unless something crazy happens like this, which it did, and it was great. I was really happy with it. It was a great season of Housewives.
It was a great match.
He saw several scenes throughout the season because he was
most of it.
Yeah.
That was, I think it was the same day as Wrestle Kingdom, but that you were watching it.
Yeah, I think so.
But you know.
All right. Do you want to do some predictions?
I think we should do some
Well, you have predictions. I don't really have any predictions.
Okay, that's fine.
But I'll weigh in on yours.
You could have worked the audience and acted like you had some.
No,
That's fine.
I don't lie to people. I can't lie. That's why I'm not.
Shooter.
I am, and that's why I'll never make it in Hollywood.
That's true. All right, so I have some 2024 predictions from late January on because it's already.
It's not that late.
No, I'm saying these are for late January.
For late January.
Because typically you would want to do your yearly predictions probably before the year
John,
starts.
that is so. I'm sorry. That is so nitpicky.
I'm just saying before the year starts.
Ridiculous. If you were about to comment in the comments of this video, the year's already started. Get a life.
I wasn't afraid of them, but now I am.
Anyway.
If you want to comment, if you want to comment on this video, please do. We need the engagement. I don't care what you say.
It's usually my brother saying something mean because he thinks that's really funny.
Yeah, he's ribbing us.
He likes to
do a rib.
We have a troll in our comments, and it's my little brother.
He's a real Owen Hart.
Yeah.
To do a rib. All right, so I'll start off with an easy one. I think Jade Cargill is going to wrestle in 2024.
Okay, I have a question about this. Do you think she'll wrestle for longer than 60 seconds?
Yes. Do you mean at all?
Yeah.
Yes. Or do you mean her normal average match time will be longer than that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She could wrestle for upwards of 2 minutes. She could be. I think she will wrestle. I think she'll wrestle a match that's 10 minutes long, which is maybe longer than almost anything. Look, that last match she had in AEW was great with Chris Statlander.
I'm gonna say that she's gonna wrestle for 10 minutes and 1 second.
Total year. Her total amount of time.
Wait, that's not how that should work. Actually, it's I'm gonna bet that she'll wrestle for 9 minutes and 59 seconds.
It's just like a Price is Right thing.
Yeah. Closest without going over. No, 9:31. 9 minute 31 seconds.
9 minutes 31 seconds. And again, this is for the total amount of time or just the one match.
Either.
Okay. All right. There you have it. I think she's going to wrestle for 1 hour total this year.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but
that'd be a lot.
Like 2 30-minute matches, you're good. That's,
I think it'd be amazing if they gave her a 30-minute match this year.
We'll see. But
we'll see.
That's why I'm saying an hour, because even if she does several 5-minute matches, I mean, she could be in the Royal Rumble from start to finish, and that's an hour.
That's true, but I would be surprised if it was start to finish.
Yeah, she probably would.
I'd be surprised if she started it.
I think she would come out. She's not going to do this Iron Man thing. I think she would probably come out and do a couple quick spots.
I think Jade at the Royal Rumble comes out 20 minutes in, lasts about 15, 20 minutes.
Honestly, I could see her even lasting less than that. I could see them with somebody like a heel screwing her or something, although that'd be kind of weird to debut her. Maybe they shouldn't debut her in the Royal Rumble, because I feel like maybe that would be because then she has to lose in some way. And
but it's a way to start a feud with somebody, if somebody cheats her out of her Royal Rumble victory in some way, it's a way to start that thing.
I told you about that time Hulk Hogan was the babyface and he got eliminated from the Royal Rumble, and his reaction, totally fairly, and his reaction was to go and pull the guy who eliminated him out. And all that commentators were trying to act like he was right for doing it. It just was such a temper tantrum. He looked insane, and like a real heel. All
right. Well, what is your next Royal Rumble prediction? Speaking of Royal Rumble predictions,
I think that Bayley is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble and face Io Sky at WrestleMania. Another pretty easy one. I don't think there's I think they're kind of building to this. I think that Damage Control has been kind of mean girling her for a while, and I don't see any other anything else on the horizon. I don't see any Ronda Rousey celebrity things. I mean, it could be Jade, and they could have Jade win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And face Rhea Ripley or something. But I think this Bayley thing. I think when also Bayley has not. It's the only thing she hasn't won.
I mean, it would be the most earned outcome.
Yeah, and I think people would be happy for Bayley winning it. They would like to see Bayley win it. And again, she hasn't won the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. So I think she's going to do it. And this is all about making choices here. So I think this is going to go, again, could easily be Jade, but I'm saying Bayley wins the Royal Rumble and faces Io Sky, and because then you can tease that she's going to face Rhea Ripley, and then Io upsets her too much. It's you know what? You're not really my friend. Mm-hmm. And she's I'm going to face you. And she does the Batista Triple H thing.
I'm excited excited for the Royal Rumble. I think that's my favorite wrestling show.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
It's just a neat format, and it's like
It's
all
so fun.
entrances, and it's just
It's
like great.
And the rules are so simple, so it's so
Yeah.
great for people. Like I watched that show with so many people who don't watch wrestling, and it's always
it's
their
the
favorite.
best to watch if you don't watch wrestling. It's like it's 100% what you
Instant stimulus.
want. Yeah.
It's surprising.
It's got a lot of forward momentum because you want to see who's going to come out.
Mhm.
Like, you
And
you just get hooked to it.
And it's very easy, like for people to get eliminated. Everybody can understand if you go over the top rope, you're out.
Yeah.
And the Kofi Kingston recovery spot, even though I think it's been botched like the last 2 or 3 years, but he's been he tries. Kofi's great. It happens. I think that The Rock, once he figures out where he's going to sit, is going to wrestle at Elimination Chamber in Australia instead of WrestleMania. He might wrestle at WrestleMania, but I think the Roman Reigns match will be at Elimination Chamber because I think they want to sell tickets to that. It's in a big stadium. It's in Australia. And I think the Australian government, I've heard, has like maybe chipped in
Oh,
for
probably.
this Rock thing. So I think it'll happen there. And then that way you can still have the Cody Rhodes match or just do something else with Roman.
That's very optimistic of you.
Yeah.
I think Cody's screwed. Anyway, what's your next prediction, John?
I think, I'm going to move this one up. I think Cody Rhodes is going to win the titles that Roman Reigns has this year. I think Cody is going to win those titles. Maybe he doesn't win them for Roman Reigns.
You know what's cute about this is I bet if we looked back, it's probably the 1-year anniversary of you saying this last time. We probably have an episode where you say it. That's exactly a year old from now.
It would be impossible for this not to happen. But that's why I'm saying it like a prediction. I think this is, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think he's going to do it this year.
I think he's wrong.
At some point.
I think he's really wrong.
I didn't even say he was going to win from Roman Reigns. I just think he's going to win. And not the World Heavyweight title, not the one Seth Rollins has, but the one that Roman has, or the two that, because technically I think it's still 2 titles, even though it's 1 belt.
He has to finish the story.
It's a real page turner.
Okay. All right. What's your next?
I think
prediction.
CM Punk does not get fired by WWE in 2024.
He's another man of optimism, folks.
I think it's not going to happen because I think that he knows better. I think he knows, and they're not going to give him any leeway. So
yeah, and you've got another really optimistic prediction on here about our friend MJF.
I think MJF will not leave AEW in 2024. I think he's coming back. I think he's probably already re-signed with the company. But there have been several times when I thought Cody Rhodes isn't going back to WWE. It's just a work. All these times I thought, CM Punk, they're probably not going to fire him. Who knows? But I think MJF is staying because I think he loves it there, and I think he knows. And also, even though he's had all these injuries, he's young. He could do another 5 years at AEW, still be in his mid-30s or early 30s, and then go to WWE if he wants to, because they're not going to afford him. Basically, the way I see it is people should retire to WWE when they're ready to just work a very simple match, kind of over and over again. And not that people in WWE aren't trying, and not that WWE never does anything good, but it's a place you go where you don't have to try and you can just kind of coast and make a lot of money. And you can retire there, basically.
I wonder if he went to WWE, I wonder if they would let him come in as, hang on, sorry, someone's crashing our interview. Oh my God, a rogue MJF fan is here.
No. Your thoughts?
It's our cat. She's just, well, for the people listening, not everybody watches this on YouTube. Some people listen to the podcast.
We have a cat, and she's on me now. I have a cat on me. This is why we need a third mic. Okay, she's gonna settle in on Dad. Okay. So I didn't say she's a big MJF mark.
Yeah.
Meow, Jacob Friedman.
But what was I gonna say? Oh shoot.
The MJF is gonna stay in AEW.
Oh, I was gonna say if he did go to WWE, do you think they would do something as ballsy as debut him at Royal Rumble, or would they make him start in NXT?
No, I think they would put him in. He would skip NXT
because he's still young.
He is still young, but I think they're not as much as they make themselves look stupid, they're not stupid, and I think that they know that he is great and he doesn't need more seasoning. Like when they signed AJ Styles 8 years ago, he debuted in the Royal Rumble. They didn't send him to NXT,
Wow.
and so I don't think that they're
Imagine that pop.
It's so I don't think that, and he can use the same music because it's just YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that he's gonna.
You think they'd want him to use the same music though?
At least at first, Cody Rhodes had the same exact presentation when he came back. I mean, he had the same entrance, he had the same music.
All right.
They might give him another one, but I think at first they would probably have him because I think they like that. And they like to make it look like, see, we got him.
We should round out the rest of these predictions then.
So I think that WWE, as much as they're different and better under Triple H, I think this whole, like, they're trying to do this stuff with All Japan and, like, other international promotions and partner promotions. I think they're going to do, like, and it seems like pretty successful. They had William Regal's son, Charlie Dempsey, go to All Japan and wrestle the Triple Crown Heavyweight Championship, their top title. I think they're going to do, like, 2 more of these and then just stop. I don't, like, it's cool that they're trying to do it, but I don't think that they care enough, and I think they're just going to stop. And I think that they don't think that their audience cares that much. Maybe they'll do it with NXT, but I just don't see it continuing on. I mean, they had like Mickie James as the Impact Knockouts champion at the Royal Rumble 2 years ago, and then they just kind of stopped with that. So like, I just don't see it continuing. That's how WWE likes to do things. I think that AEW will feature more women this year. They will continue. They've already started the trend. They had like 3 women's matches on Dynamite. They had 2 women's matches, or they had 3 women's matches at World's End. They had 2 or 3 women's matches on Dynamite. They had 2 women's matches on Rampage, which was only an hour.
Yeah.
Like half the matches were women's matches. I think they're
there
going
were
to
last
continue.
week. This past Dynamite, 7 women talked into the microphone.
It's like a Kids in the Hall sketch.
Yeah, it's
7
wild.
women talk.
It's the most women I've ever. There was a section because Mother Wayne got to start the Christian Cage promo.
Boo a mother.
Because of that, I think we went a good 15 minutes with only women talking.
That's a good point because it was like Mariah May.
Yeah, it was Mariah May and
Purrazzo.
being interviewed by Renee Paquette, Deanna Purrazzo, and then we went into. Did we do a Statlander promo right after that?
Yeah, I think there was something like that. I can't remember.
It was like a Statlander promo, and then
Soho, maybe.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah, maybe it was Ruby Soho and Saraya, and then it was into Mother Wayne opening the Christian Cage thing, and I was like, this is a lot of women in one Dynamite episode, and that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's finish out these predictions so we can move on.
I think this is the last one that I put. I think Swerve Strickland, another kind of a layup one. I think he will win the AEW World Title this year. I think Samoa Joe is great. I would love to see Samoa Joe be champion for 5 years, but Swerve is very hot right now, and I also want him to win the title, and I think they should just pull the trigger on it.
I don't want to see anyone hold a title for 5 years. That'd be so boring.
Well, you're seeing it now. Roman Reigns.
I know, and it's boring, and we're just talking about how he's.
I know.
I
was exaggerating. But
all right, fine.
Let's not fight.
Okay.
We can fight afterwards.
Too late.
I tell you every
too
week.
late.
We can fight viciously afterwards.
Too late.
Okay.
Do you want to
do Gossip Corner?
Sure.
Kevin Dunn is leaving WWE, and he's like the Vince McMahon guy. He's been there since like the beginning of the like WrestleMania era, before like the 80s. The story goes that he, like in the early 80s or something, saved a bunch of WWF like tapes from like the tape library, like their master tapes from a fire.
Oh, that's nice.
And like he was just like, so Vince McMahon was like, "You're my guy for life."
Aww.
But I don't know. He's a WWE executive, so I don't know what kind of guy he's. But anyway, but he's.
I guess
he's
I shouldn't awe Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
making
it. I mean, it's kind of nice. He did. I never saved anything from a fire. I'm not denouncing that, but he was. But yeah, he's been there forever, and it kind of made sense that once Vince was gone, that Kevin Dunn would. But he's also. He's in his 60s, so it's like a normal retirement age. But I'd imagine he probably, it's an executive position like that you can probably do for a long time because you're like, I'm not doing that much. But yeah, so he's retired. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then Maki Ito is injured.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's no like specific injury that we know of, but she said she's taking a break from wrestling. She said something like, like Tokyo Joshi Pro said that she's injured and she's not going to do U.S. dates for a while, or any dates. And she said something like, "I was so happy that everybody was enjoying my wrestling that I wanted to do it every day, and now I realize I need to take a break."
Well, I hope she's healing quickly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What should we do now?
I think we'll just do the awards.
Okay, time for the awards. The Golden Globes.
It's the awards.
It's the Golden Globes of wrestling, folks. Because those are on tonight.
Oh, the Golden Globes are on tonight?
Yeah. As far as I know.
Well, we want to do promo of the week? These are our Golden Globes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, do you want to go first? Promo of the week? I'll go first. My promo of the week, there were a lot of strong ones. I feel like I'm forgetting something really good. But Bryan Danielson's New Japan promo, so they do the backstage comments after every show. That's how they like do a lot of storyline stuff.
Yeah.
In New Japan. And he was just saying he was going to tap out Zack Sabre Jr. And he just has like this really good promo style where he's such a dick, but he is so honest, and the stuff he says is like basically true. And he just curses so much in New Japan. Like he'll just say fuck a lot, and it's so fun. And it was great. So seek out those backstage comments. It's a great way to watch New Year Dash. They usually subtitle them for the Japanese wrestlers and stuff, or Chris Charlton will translate as they're saying it. But yeah, that was my favorite promo of the week.
My promo of the week, I actually have two. Well, I have one promo of the week and one bad promo of the week. Yeah. My promo of the week is Heather from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yes.
Because her speech at the end of this season outing Monica as this internet troll is really, it's just art, and it's a thing that you'll see being memed for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I firmly believe
Documents, proof,
receipts, screenshots, timeline. Yeah, so I think that is easily my promo of the week, just because it was the most affecting thing I saw. And my bad promo of the week, I'm going to do something really spicy here.
Oh, boy.
This is an award. It's like a Razzie for what I think is the worst promo of the week.
Oh, God.
And I'm giving it to The Rock. Because that head of the table thing was so dumb.
It was
and the
silly.
more I think about it, the more mad I get about it.
It was very silly. It was like a Blue's Clues.
Because he was like, out of nowhere, he's like, I'm going out to eat in San Diego tonight.
Yeah.
Should I sit in a booth? Should The Rock sit at the bar?
Yeah, The Rock likes a bar.
Or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? Which is to call out Roman Reigns, who sits at the head of the table.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the silliest possible way to get there. Had nothing to do with anything else he was saying. It was a complete non sequitur.
Yeah, they could have not done any of the Jinder Mahal stuff.
Like the way a human talks, right?
That's the
like when you ask to go, like if you were asking for advice about dinner, you wouldn't ask where you sit in the. You'd ask what rest. It's just all of it was bad.
I mean, that's
and
how The Rock
it made me
talks.
mad. I understand that, John.
No,
it doesn't mean it's not
I'm just saying
bad.
he doesn't talk like a human.
Yeah, well, it's just bad, and it offends me the more I think about it because of the fact that the WWE does employ writers. As you pointed out, he might not be using those writers, but he should. He should. And I say this as a person who's a very big fan of Dwayne Johnson, a person who has entertained the idea of voting for him for president. So I'm not saying this just to be a jerk. I'm saying it because it needs to be said.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong words from Anne Victoria Clark.
That's right.
Back to you. That is you're right. It's very silly. Like it was. I thought the whole segment was very whatever because that's just a very WWE segment. That promo was. I realized what he was doing like pretty much right when he started it, and it did feel kind of cool when he said head of the table, but it was such a silly way to get there.
It was so silly.
It was so silly. It really was. Blue's Clues is the thing that comes to my mind.
It's like the thing
should
is,
The
like,
Rock sit at the bar? No.
Because the goal of that moment is you want people to not know what's coming, but you want them to have that realization when you say it. So you have to be kind of clever on how you get there. But this was not clever. This was just like, I'm just going to say a string of words that have like nothing to do with anything, that are going to confuse the hell out of everybody, and then say the sentence I need to say, right? And that's just cheating. That's not good writing. That's cheating.
Well, The Rock was a heel for many years.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right, match of the week.
spicy. Match of the week. There were a lot of really great matches. I'm
Yeah.
very torn on which one I should pick. You go first.
All right. Mine was easy. Mariah May and Queen Aminata, which was a squash match technically, but it lasted a good long while, and it was probably one of the coolest things I've seen in my life. Like it was, because I'll be honest, I'd never seen Mariah May wrestle, as I'm sure many AEW fans who don't watch Stardom have not seen Mariah May wrestle. And I had an image of Mariah May in my head of being kind of a little, I don't know how you would say it, sugar puff, like a little like
a Miz.
Like, yeah, I was like, this is a very attractive woman. She doesn't have to do much else, so I doubt she does.
Yeah.
You know, kind of that implicit bias.
Yeah.
I have a very strong implicit bias against hot people. I'll be honest. Like, if I see someone who's very
so mean to me.
Yeah, when I see someone who's really, really hot, I assume they can do almost nothing else because being hot is it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
But Mariah May and Queen Aminata beat the ever-loving snot out of each other. And it rocked. Like, it wasn't like a thing where I was like worried about them. It just looked badass because they're both very good looking people. And so it was kind of like just like watching like a clash of titans. You know what I mean? Like it was like watching Amazons fight. Like watching like it was like the way watching Wonder Woman is supposed to make you feel, but sometimes it doesn't because of various failings. But like it's that vibe of Wonder Woman. This is awesome.
You should edit the Wonder Woman music, like the that one from Batman versus Superman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
would know it if you heard it.
I know it because I listen to it sometimes.
Yeah. Whoa.
For fun, because I love that.
Singer Spotify
yeah, but it was very much that vibe, and it was just really awesome. And Queen Aminata was great, and definitely should be booked more.
I think she will be. I think she's returning from an injury. I think is why maybe she hasn't been around, but I think she'll be on quite a bit more.
Yeah, I tweeted this, but I would watch those women fight for like an hour. I would. That was great. It was just great. I mean, they were stiff. Like they were hitting each other.
I mean, yeah.
It was like, what? Like they don't have to do this. No. They don't have to do this.
It was great. I was really impressed. I mean, not that I didn't think Mariah May would be great. I just had also not seen her that much. But coming from Stardom, you're not going to be screwing around. And it's great because she also did a promo afterwards, and she had like she's just like a total package star. Everything's like.
I was like, this signing was brilliant.
That was great. And then they had Deonna Purrazzo come out, and I was like, yes, this is another one. And there's rumors that Mercedes might still go there, and I'm like, pay her whatever you want, because again, we need to have women featured more on the show, and part of what would help with that is paying somebody so much that you can't afford to not use them.
Yeah. All right. Let's move forward.
Oh, no. Well, I guess I still have to pick my match of the week.
Oh, right.
So, boy, I'm going to... Oh, boy. This is so hard. I guess I'll pick this one because I was there, and I love these guys, and I'm really proud of them. Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage.
And there was fire.
World's End, and they did fire, and it was so great, and it was, like, meaningful to me personally to see them do well. So it was really great. The honorable mention was Bryan Danielson versus Okada at Wrestle Kingdom because just a perfect match, and they got to make up for their last match was great, but he didn't break his arm halfway through. But Cope and Krish.
Great.
Krish.
I liked that match too because of the fire. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Outfit of the week. I'll go first. El Desperado at Wrestle Kingdom. He had like a red. Usually all this stuff is like black and white. This time he had like a black and red mask, and it looked really cool. And also it made him look like he was in the NWO Wolfpack. Like the way Sting used to change his makeup from black and white to red and black was very cool. So check out El Desperado. I'm sad he didn't get his mask ripped off. It's always fun when he takes his mask off, but he didn't do it this time.
Mine, ironically, even though there were so many women this week, I picked a dude. I picked Darby Allin at World's End because he had a cool coat.
He did have a cool
He
coat.
came out in a really cool looking coat with a cool design on it. It looked expensive, honestly.
I I like that Sting comes out in just like a very normal like spring jacket. He's just like that. Like he just wore his regular
Yeah, it looks like
jacket
it's
out
from
once.
Land's End or
Yeah, he
something.
just
Yeah.
like wore his regular jacket out once. They were like, hey, keep it.
Yeah. Whereas Darby looked high fashion in
Yeah,
his coat. He looked like he was on a runway, which he does sometimes. He has that like seriousness of a runway model.
yeah.
Um,
I had a note here for this.
yeah.
I feel like I've been watching WWE a little bit here and there. I feel like they've gotten to a point, and maybe this is like the Performance Center, and why I get annoyed when some people compare other promotions to them, be like, oh, they're not as like people aren't as toned or whatever. It's just like, yeah, because they don't have a full like NBA level fitness center that is available to them at whatever. But and like nutritionists and stuff. But it's like, and everybody's great. Everybody looks great, but people are starting to look fake in WWE. Like I've noticed a lot of the men have like what appear to be like painted beards. Like the beards.
Do you think they're filling in the beards to avoid like patchiness?
They might be doing that, and it's like it's not just that it's shaved perfectly. It's just like it just feels like everyone has like a fakeness to them that is like everybody's too done up,
Glam.
almost. Too glammed, and it's just like. But to the not that they look overly done. It's just like they're starting to look artificial. It's almost like an uncanny valley.
You think that? Do you think that WWE replaced all their wrestlers with AI?
That would be if anybody was going to do it. If anybody figures out how to use AI instead of wrestlers, WWE will. They will be the first ones to do it.
Yeah.
But that was that.
All right. Shock of the week.
I guess I'll do mine.
Yeah.
I'd say Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth. Big Nick Nemeth and little Ryan Nemeth showing up at New Japan Wrestle Kingdom. Because I did not, because usually, you know, I hear a lot of things that are going to happen, and it still might be surprising when somebody shows up, like Adam Copeland showing up. We all kind of knew it might happen, but it was still cool. But I had no, you know, we knew that Nick Nemeth was going to show up somewhere, but I just didn't think it would be New Japan. And I was very excited because I was like, I loved Dolph Ziggler, and you know, the last couple of years were very whatever because you knew that he was kind of like turned off, basically, and he was just like kind of on autopilot. And to know that he's going to New Japan is like, oh, this is a place where he's really gonna. It feels like he's gonna want to try here, you know. And I'm very excited. And he was very cool in the press conference afterward, and I like that he brought Ryan with him.
Yeah,
you know, and I hope they.
We love to see our friend Ryan Nemeth.
Yeah.
My shock of the week is the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo debuting on AEW suddenly because it's not. First, you think you're just seeing the new signee Mariah May, you know, wrestle her first match, but actually, there's another female signee. And as you were saying earlier, it's pretty exciting to see them sign two major female talents at once.
Yep.
Because it signifies that they might be investing more in their women's division, which is long overdue.
And I think Deonna Purrazzo was a big get because she had kind of done everything that she could do in Impact.
Yeah.
And I think this was a good idea on her part to shift over someplace else.
And at this point, it means we have more than one women's storyline happening at once.
Yes.
Which is exciting.
Some that are not involving...
There's like 3.
And some that are not involving championships, which is also a big
There's
deal.
like 3 women's storylines happening right now.
And it's not that I don't like... love the women's titles. It's just that when you're only doing stories about the championships, it feels like, well, we're just going to do this because we have to, because we have the title.
Right.
And it's like you're not thinking of other.
And this allows you to develop other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when they go for a championship, it's more meaningful. Which is also why I like that there is a mid-card women's championship and like a higher level one. And it also makes me feel good about AEW's women's division because Deonna Purrazzo is like a high-level women's wrestler, and makes me think that she has faith in them using her well and doing things. So that is why I feel good about that.
Yeah, that's why you picked it as your shock of the week, right?
That's right. Yeah. Well, because I'd read about it. That's why. If I had not read that she was likely to go there, I would have been probably more I was surprised. It was a surprise of the week, but I wasn't a shock of the week.
You weren't as shocked as you were to see Ryan Nemeth in Japan.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Nerd Fantasy Booking, go. Was it just all the predictions you did?
Yeah, I didn't think of one. I figured I would just do that, and I couldn't think of another one.
All right. Well, mine is that my Nerd Fantasy Booking, and remind you, this section is supposed to be us engaging with our wildest wrestling fantasies. And mine is that AEW just goes all girl. It's Mercedes Moné, Deonna Purrazzo, Mariah May, Toni Storm,
Wow.
Ruby Soho, Riho. I would love Maki Ito to not be injured anymore so she can come back. Emi Sakura. Like, I just want to see all these women just fighting every week. Like, I remember when I had the wild hope that Collision would be an all women's show.
Yeah, you idiot.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
It would be
Again,
very
like,
cool.
we've talked before about how one of the best wrestling shows we've watched was Women of Wrestling in the first couple seasons of it,
Yeah, it was
on
very
Pluto
funny.
on Pluto TV. You can watch it on Pluto. It was an hour long, and I think it's changed since these early days. But
Yeah, I will
it
say
was
the
just
early ones are the ones you.
yeah.
Not to disparage anybody on there now, but
But I mean, like, it was an hour long, and it was great.
Yeah.
And
we
I
more
think
about Kiera Hogan in that one episode than in her like several years in AEW.
yeah, I think if AEW would invest in one of their 3 shows becoming like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, not even, show that's just focused on the women, I think that would be a big deal.
Me too.
Look, I don't know how it'll sell. I don't know how it'll be viewed. I don't know if wrestling fans will show up for it. I'm famously not very bullish on wrestling fan feminism, but
I mean, you just told them they smelled.
I did, and
now
they're gonna be like, this is why we shouldn't let women come to the shows because they care about things like body odor.
That guy she didn't even notice.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'd be really cool,
Well,
and so that's my nerd fantasy booking.
Well, you know what they said in Wayne's World too: if you book it, they will come. None of the bands are here.
I mean, because it's there. Like, I just want to share this real quick. At AEW World's End, when I was waiting in the VIP line for my snacks for half an hour, there were a couple girls in front of me who were very upset about the wait because they heard the Miro match end, and then they started just fully panicking because they knew Toni Storm was next.
No.
And they were like, oh my God, oh my God. And so they just put their chips back, didn't get their snacks, and just ran back out onto the floor.
That's very sweet.
No, it was super sweet, but it's like one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, these fans freaking exist, right? And not all of them have found this place yet, because if you don't have it as your main thing, it can be hard to find.
And Toni Storm is probably permeating it because she's like probably doing well on social media.
Yeah, but it was really heartwarming to see these female fans who were very, more willing to run back to their seats than I was at that point. But you
don't care. Really.
Well, I didn't realize what was going on until I heard Toni Storm's music, and I was like, oh, dang it. But anyway,
I will say I did think of one. I thought of
a fantasy booking.
Yeah, I hope that Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestles at WrestleMania, and he brings his cat Poncho with him.
Oh,
and the cat just sits in the corner and sleeps.
I think
sits on the turnbuckle pad and just like looks at them.
I'll do you one better. What if MJF brings his cat, whose name escapes me, back with him when he returns to AEW?
That'd be great.
And his cat is his sidekick.
Bret Hart did a little promo in WCW where he was like upset that he was there, and he's like, I wish I was at home with my cat right now. Great.
Yeah, that's what MJF used to do on Twitter all the time. Anyway, that's all we got.
That's it.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
We'll
Welcome
see you.
to 2024. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.